Lesson number 4, pre-production, organization, vendor, equipment suppliers, getting your act together, making your deals. First, basic deals, pre-production. But first, a little bit of a where have we gone so far? You understand a little bit about the business in Hollywood, what no budget, low budget is going to be for you. Your first feature film, a 90-page courtroom drama, family reunion, stage play. And if you want to make $1 million feature, you can do it for $200,000 to $300,000 cash. It'll be a 35mm film, 3-week shoot. But you know what? And I'm going to keep giving you the information, and you're going to put in the checks and know how to do it. But the bottom line is, if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. By far, the most important thing is what writers do. I apologize. It's not the most expensive thing. But it is the most important thing. Your job is getting not a good script, not a very good script, a great script. Then a great script that you can make when you have little to no money, which is basically that courtroom drama, family reunion, which is sort of boring, isn't it? But somehow if you can make it not boring. What'd Tarantino do? Reservoir Dogs? 12 actors sort of chop them up? What about Kramer? 12 Angry Men? Family reunion? Monsoon Wedding? A little bit Big Fat Greek Wedding, they had to expand it. You got the idea? You're getting the concepts now? And now you know why Hollywood loves to option Broadway stage plays with all the marketing. We know it's cheap to shoot. We just know it's cheap. And now you're thinking like a business person. Next subject lesson. I got you. Hopefully, don't take me out of context. I didn't say screw the guilds or screw the unions. I said sign with all the guilds and sign with all the unions if you have enough money in your budget that you can afford their minimum rules and regulations. Absolutely sign with them. What if you don't have enough money? Then see which guilds or unions you can afford. Maybe some you sign with, some you don't. Maybe you can't even afford any of them. Then find out what their low budget agreements are. Then find out the ones you can afford. More than likely, I've done it so many times, I know so many people have done it, more than likely your first feature film is you usually sign only with the Screen Actors Guild, and you do it though under the limited exhibition agreement, which is basically budget $100 a day for actors. Now, let's get into organization, pre-production, cameras, equipment. What I'm going to do is teach you how to buy film. Number 5, number 6, how to get your lab deal. Number 7, how to rent your camera package. Number 8, how to buy expendables. Number 9, getting your sound equipment. Number 10, sound transfers, that's a check. Number 11, how to light and grip and what this costs, and then dolly. Those boring things. Those things you think that somebody told you it's very important to hire the best, and you're going to hire somebody else to make those deals for you. You're stupid. Because those deals that we make for you are usually with our supplier friends, and we have our vested interests in there of giving them a little bit more money, so that if we want our own personal shoot, et cetera, you make the deals. Let me show you what the deals are, but you make the deals. So let's get into lesson number 4, $1 million feature, which I'm showing you now how to do it, but we're going to make $1 million feature for $200,000 to $300,000. 70–80% discount. You understand what above the line is and below the line, and right now we're talking below the line. So line item 5 in your budget, film. Let's buy film. Now shooting 35mm film, the speed of the camera and the projector, here are your first numbers, is 90 feet per minute. 90 feet per minute. So a 90-minute movie, coincidentally the number 90 is there twice, a 90-minute movie running time, the camera and the projector running a speed of 90 feet per minute, your final answer print down here is 8,100 feet. That's in the final print, is 8,100 feet. But the subject right now is up here in pre-production, how many feet of raw stock, unexposed film do we buy? In the final print, it will be 8,100 feet. And a lot of shots we're going to do with several takes, a bunch of scenes. We're not going to use some of the angles. So we're going to buy more film to do the shoot than what's in the final answer print. The technical phrase for this is technically called shooting ratio. At this budget, you'll probably be about a 6-to-1 shooting ratio. Means if the final product has 8,100 feet in it, we're going to start off by buying 6 times that amount, or 48,600 feet. Well, let's round it off to 50,000 feet. What I'm going to do now is teach you how to buy 50,000 feet of film. You'll pick up the local directory, your yellow pages. You turn to the page that says raw stock or film stock, and you'll see phone numbers. You know the first 2 phone numbers you're going to see? Kodak and Fuji. As a matter of fact, you'll see full page or 2-page ads. What are you going to buy, Kodak or Fuji? Kodak or Fuji? Kodak or Fuji? I don't know, and I don't care. All I know is they work. You go to a movie tonight and tell me, do they use Kodak or Fuji? You don't know either. Nobody knows. Cinematographers swear they know. Hey, they don't know. I got a wonderful TV set, wonderful projector at home. Every now and then I got my macho cinematographer buddies over for the next pay-per-view boxing match, and I want to see if they can tell the difference between Kodak and Fuji. They always say they can. So while watching the boxing match, I'll flick over to a movie. Hey, John, is that Kodak or Fuji? And this guy got nominated for a cinematography Oscar. He didn't get it, he got nominated. He puts his nose near my screen, usually gets snot and breeze on it, and ends up telling me it's tough to tell. If this guy that got nominated as a cinematographer for an Oscar but didn't get it can't tell the difference between Kodak and Fuji, I can't tell the difference. If I can't tell the difference, you can't tell the difference. And if you can't tell the difference, your mother can't tell the difference. So it doesn't matter what you buy, and I'm not here yelling, buy America. But you know what? You probably will buy Kodak. Why? Not that it's buy America. Because Kodak gives away so much free film to every 4-year film school in America that when the kids graduate, they shot once or twice using Kodak. And now when they get into the industry, they're scared of Fuji. They sort of have a little emotional comfort zone. It prints and develops wonderful. They're just scared of Fuji. Don't be. It's fine. It's fine. But you'll probably buy Kodak. You're going to probably buy 50,000 feet of Kodak. Now, when you buy film, but you could buy Fuji, it's fine, and it's a little bit cheaper. And maybe you want to be a good business person. So when you buy 35 millimeter film, it comes in either 1,000-foot rolls or 400-foot rolls. You will buy mostly 1,000-foot rolls for when the camera is on a dolly, tripod, or crane. You will only buy 400-foot rolls for the shots that you want to do that are handheld shots, because a 400-foot load on a 400-foot magazine saves 12 pounds. Believe me, a human being, a cinematographer, camera operator, walking around know the difference of 12 pounds on their shoulder over a half hour. So let's say you got a 100-page script, and of the 100-page script, 4 pages you're planning to do handheld shooting. So then 4% of the film you buy 400-foot rolls. And the other 96% buy 1,000-foot rolls, because those shots will be on dolly, tripod, or crane. So if you're buying 50,000 feet, then I'd buy 48 1,000-foot rolls and 5 400-foot rolls. It depends. Everybody's script is different. It depends on your ratio of how much handheld shots to the dolly crane shots. So let's buy 50,000 feet of film. Let's probably buy it from Kodak. Let's buy mostly 1,000-footers, but some 400-footers. Then you'll get into a thing, ASA rating, tungsten rating, EI rating, et cetera, All it means is the higher the ASA, the higher the number, the less lights you need, the quicker it catches the image. Since you don't have a big budget and a lot of lights, you'll be going for a high ASA, usually 400 ASA to 800 ASA, which in the big budget features we only usually use during interior night and exterior night, but you use them probably during daytime also. But this is check with your cinematographer about what ASA, but you know how many feet you're buying and where you're buying from. What daylight or tungsten and ASA, that's an artistic decision. Let your cinematographer make that. Not an economic decision. And remember, if you ask him or her what do they want, it's always Kodak. And not because it's better, they're just used to it. And by the way, since they're used to it, get it. If you get a good deal. If you don't, buy Fuji, it's cheaper. So now buying film. When you call Kodak up and want to buy film, it'll come in price per roll. A 1,000-foot roll, depending upon the ASA, will be somewhere between $600 to $700 a roll. A roll has 1,000 feet in it. Here's the key phrase: cents per foot. If you're buying a 1,000-foot roll and they're charging you $650, you then go, as if you're astonished, like, how can you rate me? Oh, that's 65 cents a foot. As soon as the film seller, remember at Kodak, you're talking to a salesman, you're not talking to an artist. You're talking to a salesman. They're not there to help you. Stop being naive thinking any salesman is going to help you, ever. So you're about to ask this salesman, and then they tell you it's $650 a roll. And then you go like you're astonished, you pencil out that 65 cents a foot. Now, right now, if you buy 50,000 feet at 65 cents a foot, that's $33,000. $33,000, there's the price. That's paying retail. You're an idiot if you pay retail. Nobody in the film industry ever pays retail except first-time graduates from those 4-year theory-laden film schools. So how do you get a deal with the Kodak salesman when they tell you it's 65 cents a foot? And they won't say the phrase cents per foot. You got to say that phrase. You know how you get a deal? You say what they call, and they always call it, don't say the F word in my company. After you ask them and you say, I want 20,000 feet, 50,000 feet, 100,000 feet, then you ask them the price. Then they tell you the price, and you say, oh, that's 65 cents a foot. Now you say the F word. Guess I'll have to buy Fuji. That's all you have to say to get a discount. Has nothing to do with you're a student, you're a school, you're a Jehovah's Witness, you're on an emotional, wonderful project, you're going to save the universe. We don't care. Call Western Union. So how do you get a good deal from the Kodak salesman? Say the word Fuji. Fuji's 15 to 20% cheaper. You just knocked it down to about 52 cents a foot. 50,000 feet, you knocked it down to $25,000 to $26,000 just by that line. That's buying from the white market. There's 3 ways, or really 2 ways of buying film. One, buying directly from the manufacturer, the white market, Kodak or Fuji, but please don't pay retail, don't pay rate card. The second way is buying from the secondary market. These are legitimate companies, the gray market. Now we're going to deal with what are called buybacks, factory sealed, recans, and ends. Buybacks, factory sealed, recans, and ends. Buybacks, factory sealed, recans, and ends. Here's what they are. When Warner Bros. Paramount 20th Century makes a feature film, the producer and the cinematographer puts in an order for 150,000 feet. They get it from Kodak, and believe me, they don't pay retail. And then they get the film from Kodak, and at the end of the shoot, let's say they used 122,000 feet. There are 28 brand new cans sitting there, untouched. What do they do with these brand new cans? Store it at Warner Brothers? They don't store that stuff. They don't care. They sell it back to these secondary stores that are they're in Hollywood, they're in New York, they're in San Francisco, they're in Toronto, they're in London, they're in Sydney. I've taught in Tokyo, they're in Tokyo. These stores buy and sell. You know them as the names Dr. Rawstock, Short Ends, the Tape Store, the Film Center. Used to be Studio Film and Tape was a big one. They're not around anymore. You'll buy from them. They buy these 28 cans at about 20 cents a foot from Warner Brothers, and they'll sell them to you at 30, 35, 40 cents a foot, whatever they think they can get from you. So now you knocked it down. Brand new original film. It's perfect. It's fine. That's called buybacks or factory sealed. Buybacks or factory sealed. They're always at these stores. Whether or not one of the stores has 50,000 feet of the ASA from the manufacturer you want at that one given day, that's for you to find out. It changes every day. Buybacks, factory sealed. Now let's get into the subject recans. When you eventually get a camera package, keyword package, underline the word package, not camera, you'll get a camera, and then you probably get 4 1,000-foot magazines and 2 400-foot magazines. So at the first day of every shoot, the first thing is the second assistant cameraman that comes and takes the brand new cans of film, loads the 4 1,000-foot magazines, opens up 4 brand new 1,000-foot cans, and loads the 400-foot magazines. So let's say at the end of the day, or the end of the week, or the end of the shoot, a couple of those magazines we never loaded on the camera and exposed to light. So what we do is we take the film, it's unexposed film, it's still good film that you can shoot with, out of the magazine, put it back in the original can, put another piece of tape around it, and that's called a recan. So a recan has been touched by a human hand once. These stores buy recans at 10 to 12 cents a foot, sometimes 15 cents a foot. They'll sell them to you at 20 to 25 cents a foot, recans. Now let's get into the subject ends, E-N-D-S. And ends break down to long ends and or short ends. And in between long ends and short ends, we just call it an end. I've never heard anybody call it a medium end. So here's what an end is. You take a brand new can of film, open it up, load it in the magazine, now take the magazine, put it on the camera, load it through the camera, and then hit the on button and expose some of it to light. So let's say every day this one can, or this magazine, we exposed 180 feet to light. At the end of the day, there's 820 feet left that's unexposed. So at the end of the day, we clip off 180 feet, send it to the lab to get it developed and printed. But what's left over is 820 feet of an unexposed negative that's still good. If it's more than 700 feet long, we call it a long end. If what's left over is less than 400 feet long, we call it a short end. These companies buy long ends at 8 to 10 cents a foot. They'll sell them to you at 15 to 20 cents a foot. They buy short ends at 3 to 5 cents a foot, and they'll sell them to you at 10 to 12 cents a foot. They're good. Are you about to ask me a question about quality? Your question, ma'am? Don't worry about a microphone. Speak loud.
Why do they do that? They expose 180 feet.
During the shoot right now, it's a 10 hours today that I'm shooting. I've had 15 shots. I've exposed 1,000 feet, medium shot, master shot, load another magazine on. Then the next 3 hours, I expose another 1,000 feet. Now we only have about a half hour of daylight left. So I put 1,000 feet on, and the sun goes down, I've exposed 180 feet. I can't do any more shots. I don't want to try to light night and make it look like day. We do it sometimes, but it never looks good. So I stop the shoot right there, but I want to send that exposed film to the lab. I don't want it sitting in that camera or that magazine for another day. So send it right away. So now, let's buy film. Now you know how to buy film cheaply. You'll buy about 50,000 feet, probably on a budget of 200 to 300,000. Maybe you buy 60,000 feet, maybe you buy 40,000 feet. You'll more than likely buy from Kodak. You buy a mixture of 1,000 feet, mostly 1,000-footers, some 400-footers. But you'll get a good deal by saying the word Fuji. And maybe some of the footage you get, you buy some buybacks or recans or ends. And I'm going to save your rear ends now in your shoot because I just about guarantee every one of you, when you're shooting your film, 3 days before you finish your shoot, I bet you allowed the actors too many takes. Art. I bet you allowed the director too many angles. Insecurity. And I bet you run out of film. 18-day shoot, and day 15, somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, no more film. What are you guys going to do? What are you going to do now? It's your money. You've been to film school. What are you going to do? You're broke. Are you going to take it from post? I love it when crew people and actors think good producers always know how to get money. Somebody point me to the money tree. I'll pick it. I'll even get on my knees to pick money. At any time. I bend over to pick up nickels. I'll bend over to pick up a penny if the head is facing up. Where's the money? There is no more money. We ran out of film. We did too many takes with you, trying to get into art. But you know what? Now that you know that the gray market is there, I bet you go buy some recans and short ends at 10 cents a foot, and you'll call me up 2 years from now and say, thank you, Dev, you saved my butt. When I only had $500, but I needed another 3,000 feet. That's buying film. There's nothing else to it. You know how to buy film. Get as many feet as you can afford. Get a good deal. Film. This will be anywhere from probably 10 to 25 thou, not 33. Film, yes, sir.
But what about the quality?
Never mind the quality. Is it in focus? Is it framed properly? Don't ask me stupid anal questions about you're going to think you're going to get nominated for an Oscar for cinematography. It will look fine. Now, what's the script and what's the story? And stop worrying about this stupid anal artistic stuff. It's fine. Is it in focus? Is it in frame? And that's it. Blair Witch Project and The Company of Men. These are these first films. Nobody talks about the quality. We're just dazzled that you got it done for this limited amount of money. It's got to be in focus. It's got to be in frame. And the sound is the Achilles heel. And by the way, when we're shooting the lessons here, remember when they say action and we go on for about 30 seconds to a minute? You never do that with film. As soon as you say roll camera, you start thinking your budget's going out the window. You get action within 4 seconds. Not like here, we're waiting because it's tape. That's cheap. We'll get to that later on. Film, lab. Let's get a lab deal. You get your local director, you'll find labs. There aren't that many labs in the world. There are about 4 or 5 labs in Los Angeles, 2 labs in San Francisco, 1 in Portland, 1 in Seattle, 2 in Vancouver, 2 in Toronto, 3 in New York, 1 in Denver, 1 in Miami, 1 in Pittsburgh just disappeared, 1 in Nashville, sort of 1 in Dallas. That's about it. So when you want to develop and print your film, lab deal. Okay, you got 50,000 feet. You call up the lab, they will send you a rate card that has 200 numbers on it. It's going to be overwhelming when you look at this. You only look for 2 numbers. The only numbers you care about is the number, cents per foot it costs to develop the negative. That's 1 number. And then the next, after you develop the negative, you want something to look at, which you call your rushes, your dailies, your screenings, and then you might splice it, then you'll call it your work print. But technically, it's nicknamed a one light. So these rate cards from labs, you just look at, of all the numbers, the number for A, developing the negative, and then the number B for printing the negative to get a one light. This is color. Of all the labs in the world, I've seen just about all their rate cards, they all add up to 45 to 60 cents a foot, American, 45 to 60 cents a foot. Don't pay it. Nobody pays rate card at retail unless you graduate from one of those 4-year theory-laden film schools, not from my class. Now, the lab that charges 45 cents a foot to develop and print will gladly give you at least a 30% discount to 30 cents a foot to develop and print. The lab that gives you a rate card price of 60 cents a foot to develop and print, they love saying, oh, you're a first-time filmmaker. We'll give you 50% off, 30 cents a foot. The universal number is 30 cents a foot to develop and print. So you have 50,000 feet. Over 3 weeks, you'll send about 3,000 feet a day to the lab. And developing and printing at 30 cents a foot, 50,000 feet, $15,000. Film stock, lab. Now, camera. Let's go get our camera package. We did film, did lab. Let's get our camera package. There are 2 manufacturers of cameras. One is Arriflex, 2 is Panavision. There are actually 2 others. One's a company called MovieCam, another's a company called Aaton, A-A-T-O-N. Now, which camera from what manufacturer are you going to rent? When you rent a camera, all you need to know, it's like renting a car. When you rent a car and you go to Hertz, Avis, Budget, or Dollar, do you ask for a Chrysler, a Ford, a General Motors? You don't care. You ever asked to look at the distributor cap? You don't care. It's the equipment rental business. You just want to know what's the price per day and what's the price per week. So you want to rent a camera package. Remember, we're a 35 millimeter film, 3-week shoot right now. So you want to rent a camera package for 3 weeks. Here's my opinion on the camera manufacturers. One, Aaton, I don't like it. Whatever reason, a couple times in shoots 10 years ago and 12 years ago that I worked with them on shoots, the magazine's clogged up, broke too many sprocket holes in it, and I don't think it was my crew. My operator, focus, pull, and second AC were good. I don't like Aaton equipment. Here's the bottom line for me. It's equipment made in France. Anybody want to, I'm talking about machinery. I don't care about political, economic. Anybody want to buy machinery made in France? Anybody ever buy a Citroen? I bought that once. I had to buy 2 extras to get parts. So stay away from Aton. Next, Movie Cam. Movie Cam is excellent, excellent camera equipment. Works very well. Problem is there are only 3 about the 30 camera rental facilities in North America that have the equipment. And they know it, so you're not going to haggle a good deal. If your cinematographer likes to drive a Movie Cam equipment, Movie Cam camera, which is excellent equipment, it's hard to haggle. Next, Arriflex, made in Germany. Excellent equipment. I'd say 6 out of 10 no-budget, low-budget filmmakers probably use Arriflex equipment. Next, 9 out of 10 camera rental facilities buy Arriflex equipment. So wherever you're ever going to go to do your rental, that's probably what you're going to find is Arriflex equipment. Next, Panavision, made in America, excellent, excellent equipment. However, they made a decision a long time ago to never sell their equipment. So if you want to use Panavision equipment, you got to go to them directly. You got to go to them directly. They'll have an office in New York, an office in Toronto, an office definitely, their company is in the Valley in LA. They'll have an office in London, they'll have an office in Sydney that has some packages. So now cameras, when you rent a car, the first thing they ask you, and you ask, is what's the price? Then they ask, you want a full-size, mid-size, subcompact? All the cars work. Does it really matter what car you rent? They work. To me, I think it's vanity and ego. That's the difference of which car you rent. Has nothing to do with will it get you from the airport to the hotel. Vanity and ego. And by the way, if you can afford the more expensive car, get it. It's nice. Cameras. Which camera are you going to rent from Arriflex or Panavision? It's vanity or ego, but get the better one if you can afford it. The most expensive camera manufactured by Arriflex used to be the 535B. The next one down is the 535A. Then the 435. Then the BL4. Then the BL3. And the cheapest is what they call an ARRI 2C. They just about a year and a half ago, but I never shot with them, manufactured 2 new cameras. Excuse me. One's called an ARRI LT, which is nicknamed for light. And the other is the ARRI ST, which is heavy, but nicknamed for studio for the shots that are on the dolly and the crane. If you're renting from Panavision, their models go from the Millennium down to the Platinum, to the Gold, to the G2, the Flex, the X, the Panastar, etc. Which camera do you rent? The one you can afford. I don't care. At this budget, $200,000 to $300,000 for a 3-week shoot, it's going to probably be an Arriflex BL4 that hopefully gets bumped up to a 535A or 535B, or a Panavision Gold or G2 package. Keyword package. Underline the word package. When you rent a car, you get the entire car. When you get a camera, all I've told you about now is the basic body and engine. You need magazines. They're extra. Lenses. They're extra. Tripods, sticks, extra, extra. So that's the camera package. I've done it enough times to know that you can rent a camera package, Arriflex or Panavision, that's excellent, for $2,000 a day. $2,000 a day. You want it for a 3-week shoot. How do you get a good deal when it's $2,000 a day? Well, $2,000 a day times 21 days, $42,000, that's not a good deal. Oh, we're only working 18 days, and on Sunday we go to church, dribble, 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 $36,000, that's not a good deal. What you'll find out in the equipment rental business is they always give you a 4-day week. If you rent a car from Hertz or Avis at $50 a day and you want it for a week, it's $200. If it's during the busy tourist season when they know they're going to rent them, they'll probably charge you a 5-day week, $250 for the week. Right now, nobody's traveling. We're getting deals at 3-day and 2-day weeks. When you rent a camera package, you go to a camera rental facility. All the items you want that satisfies the cinematographer will cost you, pencil out, about $2,000 a day. The cinematographer will not haggle the deal for you. Don't ever think that. It's your job to go to the camera rental facility and basically take $2,000 a day, then call it a 2-day work or 2-day week, call it $4,000 per week, take a check in your hand, and go into any camera rental facility with a check for $12,000 and your cinematographer that they know so they feel comfortable with somebody who knows how to work the stuff. And you'll get a 2-day week all the time. Half my shoots, 2/3 of my shoots were 2-day weeks. A lot of shoots I did was a 1-day week, $2,000 for the week to get the camera package. That's it. That's 35 millimeter. It's the same thing they used on Titanic and Pearl Harbor. Get a good deal, get a good deal. So let's say you get a deal, a 2-day week, $4,000 per week, 3-week shoot, $12,000. I'll put in 12 to about 15,000. Film, lab, camera. Expendables. One-time only items, you use them, you expend them. Consumables, expendables. You use them, then you can't use them again. Filters, gels, gaffing tape, Dubertine, camera cleaner, air blower, different types of tape. All you need to know is some people during the crew will need this stuff. You budget $2,000 to $3,000 for expendables. Sound. You'll hire a sound man. When you rent camera equipment, you go to a camera rental facility. Excuse me. When you rent sound equipment, you don't go to a sound rental facility. Why? A good 35 millimeter camera package will cost $50,000 to $150,000 to buy. No cinematographer writes that check and then keeps it knowing that some other camera is going to be manufactured a year from now and it's outdated. That's too big a check. So renting cameras, you take your cinematographer to a camera rental facility. Sound equipment, to get all the sound equipment you need, the sound person, it might cost $7,000 to $10,000 to buy everything. So you really rent your sound equipment by hiring a sound person. Hiring a sound person that knows what they're doing, but only hiring a sound person that has his or her own equipment. 19 out of 20 sound people have their own equipment because it's not that expensive to buy. It's your job to make sure what they have is good. So here are the 3 things you look for. A, the recording machine. Recording machine, if it's a little bit old and it's analog, it's usually a manufacturer called Nagra. But Nagra also does DAT now. Or Sony or Panasonic does DAT. So it's just a tape recorder, basically. And I don't care if it's analog or DAT, guys. I don't care. And actually, I prefer analog. It doesn't drop out as much. I know it doesn't sound exotic. But anyway, you'll hire the sound man that has, first, their recorder, A, their recorder. B, microphones. That's your Achilles heel. Mics. Different types of mics for different type of miking situations. You'll find out in post-production. You screwed up there. Most of you have made your short, which you already know you shouldn't have made a short. Had a big problem when you got to post with sound, didn't you? I'm doing this right now, hoping my sound comes out. I don't know. I never met the sound man before this shoot. I hope he knows what he's doing. But I'm going to write a check and pay him, and it's done. He's gone. He's history. And I'm not going to take away his first child if it doesn't come. Microphones. Microphones. That's your Achilles heel. Pay attention to microphones. Here's the first thing I'll start telling you about digital filmmaking. I don't care what cameras you use. You can keep thinking about pixels and dots and lines per inch and 3-chip and this chip. Don't you ever use the microphone that comes with any of those cameras. Never! The visual image is adequate, not the sound that comes out of those things. The recording of the sound is adequate inside, not the microphone that's on those cheap cameras. Anyway, sound. So you'll hire a sound guy. They're all, pick up the local directory. What do you want to pay a sound person? You've seen all their rear title crawl credits. You remember any of them? What do you want to pay? Anything you want to pay. If you don't like what I tell you to pay, you're allowed to pay more. In my opinion, $1,500 to $2,000 a week. So $1,500 to $2,000 a week, you get the sound man with use of his or her equipment, and out of that money, they pay for their assistant, their boom man, mic man, or cable person. So it's all the equipment and 2 crew people for $1,500 to $2,000 per week. Let's call it $5,000 to $6,000. You pay a little bit more money for batteries and other stuff, which will be here in expendables. Here's a little thing that most people don't know exists that you got to write a check for. Look up here. If I have a film camera here, and I put in film and I hit the on button, and then I drop the film off the lab to get developed and printed. When the lab develops and prints it, and then I project it and I look at it, there's no sound on it. Sound is being recorded over here with a sound man, with a tape recorder, and a microphone, so it's on tape. So what I have to do every day is transfer the sound that's on some tape format to sound that's on a film format. So now I have picture film on the film format and another piece of celluloid with just brown coating on it that has just sound on it. Now there are two pieces of celluloid. You'll get this usually done at the lab. They'll charge you 5 cents to 8 cents a foot. You got 50,000 feet. Let's put in $3,000 to $4,000. I'll make it $3,000 to $5,000. Light and grip equipment. Let's go get some lights. Let's go get some grip equipment. Light and grip equipment. Let me teach you how to be a lighting director in 5 minutes. Light and grip equipment. Here's another oxymoron in the film industry. We actually light the scene to make it look natural. Wait a second. When we light it, we make it not natural. We actually light it to make it not natural, so when the consumer sees it, they think it's natural. Here's why. Each one of you guys have the greatest cameras in the world. It's in your head, your brain, your eyes. But you notice you have two lenses? Left eye, right eye, sitting 2.5 inches apart. The greatest camera in the world, whatever it is, only has one lens, guys. So every shot's going to come out flat. No depth perception. Next, I don't know why, I don't care, I don't want a definition. All I know is when we shoot film, it comes out darker than the naked eye sees. And when we shoot tape, it comes out darker than what the film sees. So every shot you do is going to come out flat and dark. Flat and dark. Flat and dark. You wanted value. He's worried about what does it look like. It's going to come out flat and dark, flat and dark. So we light a scene to compensate for the flat and dark. And we do what's technically called the three-point lighting setup. The three-point lighting setup. And the 3 points are the key light, the backlight, and the fill light. Key, back, fill, key, back, fill, key, back, fill, key, back, fill, key, back, fill. So if the camera's over there, wherever you want to put the camera, I don't care where you put the camera to get your first shot, it's probably called a master shot. But from about, I'd say 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, put another light out there that shines directly on my face. Watch this right now. Well, there's a key light on me over there. I'm trying to come over here where the light isn't here. Take a look at me right now. Does anybody see my irises? Does anybody see a dot in my eye? They're dark. And all these shadows in my eye sockets. Every one of you have shadows in your eye sockets. That's natural. But it's not aesthetically pleasing. And if we get the shot, it comes out even darker than this, where you can't even see my eye, nevertheless my iris. And up there on the big screen, it looks like zombie slime killer film instructor with nothing on inside his head. So the first thing I got to do in lighting each scene is get a key light. Get a light out there that now you can see my eyes. But we'll find a way to soften it so it doesn't put shadows on certain places. So the first light that you do for every shot is the key light. What's the next light? Backlighting. I have some backlighting here. I don't know how well it's coming off, but backlighting, it's exactly that. It's a light up there and a light up there that's shining on the back of my head. Go to a movie tonight, you'll see an actor is walking around, you notice this halo or glow around their head. Where that halo or glow is coming from is backlighting. And when you see that halo or glow, what it does, it gives a feeling of depth perception. It is now separating me from the backdrop. Key lighting, backlighting. And maybe, if I had more time, I'd backlight this. I'd backlight the projector stand. I'd backlight something over there. I'm trying to put more layers of depth in this 2D scene. Key lighting, backlighting, and the next is fill lighting, of more lights that are up there filling in holes down in here, or highlighting some other things that give more depth and more depth. That's what they do, key, back, fill, key, back, fill, key, back, fill. There's a fourth light that's called an eye light, EYE/LIGHT. Look up here so you know what it is. Key back, you do your key back fill, then the cinematographer, the camera operator, looks in the camera, and besides framing and focus, what they're checking on is, can they see in my eyes? One, can they see my eyes? Two, can they see those two little dots in my iris? You guys got them? If you don't, lesson number 5, you better get dots in my eyes, because I want to come alive. Without those dots in my eyes, it's like I'm a zombie. It's like, I don't care how great the script is and how great the acting is, the audience looks at it, it's like the person has no emotion. There's nothing inside. Go to a movie tonight, you're going to see the top actors always, they make sure they get the lighting that has the little dot in each of their irises. If that dot's not there, I don't care how great the script is, I don't care how great their acting performance is, They're coming off like they're hollow inside. You need those little dots in there for that performance. Anyway, that's key backfill, that's key backfill. By the way, we got enough money for a 3-week shoot, a 90-page script, an 18-day shoot, a shooting schedule of 5 pages per day. We're getting 25 to 35 shots per day. You got about 10 hours of daylight shooting time. So you got 20 to 25 minutes per shot. So to get that shot, let's do the lighting. Let's block the actor. Let's get the key light, the backlight, the fill light. And remember, you got 25 minutes, guys. And now go. And don't tell me about rehearsal. Some of you that are in this room and actors, you go to those 4-year schools, they talk about rehearsal. And every one of you actors knows if you've ever been on a real movie of the week or a real feature film, you've never had more than 5 minutes of rehearsal. And you know that's true. And that's why we pick you in casting, that we know you can act. You'll look right for the part. Now show up on time and hit the mark, and don't stumble on your lips. Lighting, key, backfill, and the eye light. So where are you going to get these lights from? And what holds up the light, what grips the light, is grip equipment. The person that gets the light, and you hear the word light, that's a light bulb. The person that gets the light bulb is a gaffer. Because 400, 700 years ago, the story I heard is the people that blow glass, you know, those molten lava glass people with the big cheeks, they're gaffers. They make glass, they make bulbs. That's a lighting person, bulbs. What holds up the bulb is grip equipment. So you need enough gaffing equipment, bulbs, and the gaffer and their assistant thinks about power, electricity, and not blowing a fuse. And then the grip, it's like the carpenter on the set, thinks on the rigging equipment, a couple guys went up there to put a light up there, that's more the grip. The gaffer thinks the power, the light, and the electricity, the grip rigging it on there, the plumber or the carpenter. Now the best way to get the best deal is pick up your local directory, and you'll always see ads for the independent trucks in town. Every city has the independent trucks in town. Here in LA, it's somebody that lives in Reseda, or Simi Valley, or Sylmar. They went out, they bought some used lights 3 years ago, they got a kid, or they got a housewife, or they got a husband, they got 2 kids, they got a mortgage, and they got $50,000 to $150,000 invested in this truck that's a decent size with no writing on it, because if we put writing on it, people will steal. And inside they have all the lights and the grip equipment, and maybe a small dolly, and maybe a small generator. Where do you get these trucks? They're in the directory. What do you pay? Whatever you think you can get away with. Corman pays. We pay $2,000 to $3,000 per week. $2,000 to $3,000 per week. This is a guy that lives in Reseda, Simi Valley. $2,000 to $3,000 a week. That's enough. 3-week shoot, $6,000 to $9,000. So for $6,000 to $9,000, you get the truck, you get all the lights. He or her is either the key grip or the key gaffer. And out of their money, which will probably be $500 a week, they pay for what they call the best boy grip or the best boy electrician. So you get 2 crew people, all the lights, all the grip equipment, and the truck for $2,000 to $3,000 per week, 3-week shoot, $6,000 to $9,000. $6,000 to $9,000. Now I want you to get 25 to 35 shots per day, and each shot has key lighting, backlighting, and fill lighting, and each shot has camera movement. How are you going to do your camera movement? If you want production value, I'm showing you how to get it. Well, here's one way. Take the camera off the tripod, put it on your shoulder, tell the movable prop to talk, hit the on button, and then start walking into them. Okay, that's one way, and you're going to do some of that. But you know it's going to bounce. And those shots look good on TV. But I'm letting you know they don't look good in the movie theater. And when you see all those shots from shows like Law & Order, NYPD, ER, the bouncing camera bouncing all over the place, we actually think it's innovative filmmaking on TV. Now, if you took those same shots and projected them in a movie theater on a movie screen, the audience within 1 minute will be seasick, nauseous, and vomiting. Not a joke. They will be nauseous. On a TV set, it looks interesting. Let's go back now for handheld shots. They don't work, guys. They work for TV, they work for video, they work for cable. But they don't work for the film industry. Next, here's another way. I can put the camera on a tripod and zoom into the actor. That's another one of those shots that works on TV, video, and cable. In the first shot of friends going into the building, we're getting closer to the person. And when you're looking on TV, video, or cable broadcasting, the shot looks good. But a zoom in to a close-up of a person on the movie screen just looks like this person's head is expanding. It's not like we're getting closer, so that's a dumb shot. So what you want to do is get 25 to 35 shots per day with camera movement, with key lighting, backlighting, fill lighting, and I want your camera on a dolly, You'll rent a dolly from either one company that's called, the manufacturer's Fisher. Then you get either Fisher number 9, number 10, or number 11. Or you rent the dolly from another camera manufacturer that's called Chapman Leonard. And then you get either a Pee Wee, Super Pee Wee, Hybrid, or Hustler. And if you don't live in a big metropolitan area, just about every small camera rental facility has bought a couple of dollies from one of those two manufacturers. What are you going to pay for the dolly per week? You pay $1,000 per week. There's not much haggling in this one. It's pretty cheap, $3,000. Now you're going to get 25 to 35 shots per day, key lighting, backlighting, fill lighting, and camera movement and production value, and it's going to be in focus, and it's going to be framed properly, and the sound is going to be, it can't be wonderful until you get to post, but it's the best sound you can get live right now. Now let's go a little bit more in getting organized. That's your equipment vendor deals. And by the way, here's then, whoops, paperwork in getting yourself organized is at the end of every day. You look at dailies, you plan for tomorrow, your paperwork in pre-production, your storyboards. You do your storyboarding. One, storyboarding. You do it yourself. You want to direct? If you can't direct a pencil, then you can't direct a camera. And if you think, oh, I'm going to hire a storyboard artist, then you don't want to direct. Don't you want to practice directing? Cheapest way to practice directing is get those little panels and a pencil. Nobody's going to grade you on your artwork. And you'll be amazed how you start picking shots and putting the dialogue to the right. You're practicing shooting your film. That's why you storyboard. You storyboard, you do a production board, which I'll show you in one of the lessons how to do a shooting schedule, production board, strip board. You come up with a shooting schedule. You get your cast and crew list. You call up everybody. The production coordinator, the production manager, at about 5 a.m. wakes everybody up. And they have photocopies of the maps to come to the location from north, east, west, and south. And at the end of the day, if you're being funded by a distributor studio, you'll have a form that's called a production report. You don't have that production report because you're not being funded by anybody. But at the end of the day of the shoot, about an hour before the day is over, you'll fill in a piece of paper that's called a call sheet that says what scenes and shots we're going to get tomorrow, what time we have to be there tomorrow, where and how to get there tomorrow, and your call sheet. And then at around 6 o'clock, you photocopy it 50 times to give it out to your cast and crew people who are very tired now. They have now been working 12 to 14 hours, probably 5 days in a row. And I guarantee you, if you don't give that call sheet out every day, at the end of 2 or 3 days, 3 people don't show up at the right time with the right piece of equipment or the right prop, and the day's useless. That little piece of paper called the call sheet to me is the glue that'll keep your shoot together. You'll still have Murphy's Law, there'll still be a lot of problems, but that gets rid of most of them. So this lesson was about pre-production and organization. Organization starts with get the script, do a storyboard, then do a production board which shows you how to do a shooting schedule. Hire your cast and crew people, but get all their phone numbers, get the cast and crew list together. Before you start the shoot, photocopy and give it out to everybody. So now everybody knows how to get in touch with everybody else, and they know how to get in touch with the vendor and equipment suppliers, and they know where the locations are. And now you've storyboarded several times. You're now practicing directing. Now let's do the shoot. You'll tell people to come at 5 a.m. On the first day of the shoot. You'll start shooting at about 6:15, 6:30. And you know when we stop shooting, there's no such thing as an 8-hour day in the movie industry. You're going to stop shooting when it's black. An earliest day I ever had in my life working on a movie was we got there at 6 a.m. and we left at 6 p.m. That was the easiest day I ever had. And that's a 12-hour day. You're the guy with all writing the checks and all the problems, so you're getting there at 5 a.m. You got the checks. You're worrying about who's not coming. You're shooting until it gets dark, which is about 7 p.m. Now you got film, get it to the lab, sound, get it to the transfer facility. Oh, let's get some people together to talk about tomorrow. Oh, you want to see dailies. So we'll see dailies at 10:30, 11 o'clock. You get home at 12 o'clock, get up again tomorrow at 4 or 5 o'clock. But this is why you need your organization. And this is why I pray that you only get a one-location shoot to do the first thing. And it's nothing to do really with budget. After 3 days of these 18 to 20-hour days, if the fourth day is at another location, just a half a mile away, and all your crew have been working 18 hours a day, I guarantee you 1 out of 6 of them won't show up. They can't find it. And the shoot will fall apart right there. One location, keep it simple. Even when they're exhausted, they know how to come back to that building. Keep it simple. Pre-production, then do your vendor and equipment suppliers, film, lab, camera, sound, transfers, lights, grip, dolly. And all I really taught you is don't pay retail. Don't pay retail. So lesson number 4 is done. Our next lesson is going to be directing. I'm going to give you a crash course and teach you how to direct a feature film, but a realistic one, with none of this fluff about the difference of emotion between dolly left and dolly right. What I'm going to do is teach you how to direct when you don't know what you're doing, which you don't, when you have little money to shoot, which you will, when you have a total energetic but incompetent crew, which you will, and when you have actors that want to pull your hair out because you don't allow them to act, because they want to do take 2 and take 3 to make it better, and they can make it better. But the point is you have a budget and schedule. So then you've got to learn how to direct to stay on budget and on schedule. And then you got to learn how to direct to get all the shots. You'll be amazed when you go to post-production. Everybody you hire in post-production believes they saved every film they ever worked on. Everybody in post believes they saved every film that they ever worked on. Now, they can't save the film if you didn't get the shots to allow them to save it. So they didn't save their film. They were just doing their job. But your job as a director is to get those shots that allows them to feel they saved the film. And I'll teach you how to get those shots. And then I'll teach you once again how to get it on budget, on schedule, and artistic performance, and talk nicely to the actors. That'll be the next lesson coming up. Now you know, let's get a keep it simple script. How much money do you really have access to? We're doing $1 million feature for 200 to 300,000. Stop worrying about the guilds and unions. Your vendor equipment suppliers don't pay retail. You're getting this rhythm of 25 to 35 shots per day, key lighting, backlighting, fill lighting, camera movement, let's move, let's move. And then the next thing coming up is now you know how to talk to the actors and get a performance and direct. Thank you very much.